You no longer have to drink 12 of those seltzers just to get that perfect buzz. At 8% alcohol, Mimosa Royale is the perfect drink to party with. Offered in a variety of flavors and sizes, you are bound to find a Mimosa Royale that you'll love. We have berry, mango, apple, and orange, with more flavors to come. Mimosa Royale is the most award-winning flavored wine that serves in bottles or cans. You can find them online at drinkmimosa.com or find them at your local liquor store. Ask for it by name. Mimosa Royale.
Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. High 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on high7025fm.com.
What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Yes, it is your girl, Miss Connie. It's hump day. Yes, come on in, everyone. It is the last Wednesday of the month, of the first month of the year, 2025. That's 52 backwards for me. Yes, guys, this is going to be a great show. We're going to do a part 2 series, so I'm not going to do all this talking and introduction, but I'm going to be very intentional about how I direct this today, because I had a gentleman on here last week, Dr. Franco. You guys may remember if you were on. If not, I've been dropping plenty of jewels and gems this week and funny little reels from our interview process, but I've been getting a lot of calls from the brothers and the sisters, and I have to be a voice for you this week, because everybody doesn't want to be online or be on video or be in the studio and admit that they may be the macaroni without the cheese sauce. Ha! Come on in here, because today we're going to talk about it, okay? Ladies, get your minds right. Pull your man in, because you haven't been able to have this real conversation. But we're going to talk about it, because the only time y'all want to talk about the dysfunction, the problems, that you can't get it right is when we're in the midst of an argument. Women, we must stop talking so harsh to our men if they are already in dysfunction. And we plan on keeping them. We got to pour into them. We need to get this blood flowing. It's your girl, Miss Connie. This is a wig off Wednesday, because yes, I do still have my locks, and it's definitely hump day. I posted that flash sale, so here on out, every week, every Wednesday, I will be having a flash sale with the Bedroom Candy products. That's www.bedroomcandy.com/11002. I am not only your risky radio host here at Hot 702.5 FM, I am also your bedroom boutique consultant, the vagicator, the doctor, but not this kind of doctor. I'm going to bring him in here right now, because what I do know about is what I do have. But you know what? We need a little bit of help out here, because I was not born man, but he was. Let's bring Dr. Franco back into the house. Welcome back, Dr. Franco Taylor. We are so excited to have you back on show. Are you ready to talk about it?
I am ready.
Okay.
I used to say I'm ready for Freddie, and Freddie don't ever get ready.
Well, now who is Freddie?
Everybody's got a Freddie.
Oh, snap. Okay. Everybody got a Freddie. I used to have one. I don't like that Negro no more, though. But let's talk about it. It wasn't because he had dysfunction, because I don't know nothing about his erectile. But before I get started on you, Dr. Taylor, I want to let everybody know that I appreciate this conversation today, because we're coming from a male perspective and a female perspective. I am a woman of age, so we can see that all this beautiful white hair over here glistening in camera, that our guest is of age as well. So we come with a little bit of experience, folks. So please, you know what I'm saying? This right here is good drip, good sauce. So I could tell you from my end, but Dr. Franco, you got to tell them from your end, because I'm showing up sexy. I'm glistening. I'm clean. I'm smooth and right. And they saying it may be some problems when we get there. Please help these brothers out.
All right. Well, it's a lot of funnies. There's a lot of humorous in some cases, but really and truly, we're talking about a really, really serious situation.
I know.
Erectile dysfunction is defined as the persistent inability to achieve or maintain penile erection sufficient for satisfactory sexual performance. The Massachusetts Male Aging Study surveyed 1,709 men aged 40 to 70 years between 1987 and 1989 and found there was a total prevalence of erectile dysfunction of 52%. 52% of those men had erectile dysfunction. It was estimated that in 1995, over 152 million men worldwide experienced ED. For 2025, the prevalence of ED is predicted to be approximately 322 million worldwide. In the past, erectile dysfunction was commonly believed to be caused by psychological problems. It is now known that for most men, erectile dysfunction, listen to me carefully, is caused by physical problems, usually related to blood supply to the penis. Many advances have occurred and diagnosis and treatment are, in this area, but the bottom line is blood flow to the penis is the problem. Another definition says it's the inability, and you're gonna like this one a little more, inability to delay ejaculation on all or nearly all vaginal penetrations, and negative personal consequences such as distress, bother, frustration, and or the avoidance of sexual intimacy. Okay, so premature ejaculation is divided into lifelong and acquired categories. Lifelong premature ejaculation with lifelong premature ejaculation, the patient has experienced premature ejaculation since first beginning coitus. Acquired premature
Wait a minute, Dr. Franco. Hold on, because you're hitting us with some words. So you telling me that the problem he having at 30, he pretty much had at birth? What was that?
No, not at birth, at first coitus, when the first time, or however old, 13, 12, 10, whatever.
Okay.
18,
okay.
The first time there was a problem. And after that, there were problems, okay?
Okay.
And it says that they had successful coitus. Acquired premature ejaculation is when individual had successful coital relationships and only now has developed premature ejaculation because of something that has happened. We'll talk about that. And then performance anxiety. Performance anxiety is a form of psychogenic ED, usually caused by stress. So that kind of gives us a come into this thing. But you notice that the first thing was said that it had to do with penile blood supply.
Exactly. So because you are out of house guest, I do have some people here on one of my other platforms. So basically what Dr. Franco is saying that the causes of ED mainly is stress, alcohol, and smoking. When I did a little research, they said that smoking really was a major factor in erectile dysfunction. And I'm sure that didn't have any it doesn't matter if that was tobacco, weed, anything that is being turned into smoke, literally, and taken into the body is causing that. So that's hookah, cigarettes, weed, so on and so forth, correct?
Big fancy, expensive cigars.
So everybody up in the cigar spot got erectile dysfunction.
Well, not got it, but they pushing it. They're pushing it. I know you're gonna laugh.
I got some head shakes in here. I'm sorry. I got some. I know this is a serious topic. I had some head shakes because
I got you.
No, okay.
Yeah. Let's keep on with some education though.
Okay,
organic, they're the types of erectile dysfunction. Organic simply means that the abnormalities of penile arteries and or veins are the most common cause. In other words, they have atherosclerosis of the penile arteries. So the veins and the arteries supplying the penis with blood are clogged up, they're hardened, they're maybe almost shut off, if you hear what I'm saying. So now that's a deep deal. So now let's just throw in a little quick something. So now if you've got hardening of the arteries, that means you're not getting what? A good blood flow, a good blood flow. So what can you do about that? Well, you can, if you're overweight, you can lose some of that weight. If you're not exercising, you can exercise. If you got high blood pressure, you need to come to somebody like Dr. Franco to find out how to get it down naturally without the drugs and medication. And you need to stop drinking all that alcohol. And as Connie just said a second ago, no smoking. So those are things that you can do. But again, even before heart problems come into play, the penis can literally suffer from hardening of the arteries, atherosclerosis, lack of blood flow.
Okay, so thank you for all that information. So we do have a caller that just called in, and if there's something that you would like to say, make sure you dial in 702-551-5261. So we have a caller on the line. Who do we have? Hi, caller. Thank you for calling. Caller,
Yes,
you're live.
How you doing?
Hi.
Oh,
That's good.
Okay, who am I
How you
speaking
doing?
with?
This is Thomas F. Chappelle Jr.
Okay, so Thomas F. Chappelle Jr. I don't know if Dr. Franco can't hear him, correct? Oh, he can hear you. Okay, he can hear you. So Dr. Franco, Thomas is actually an author of a book. It is information about erectile dysfunction. So go ahead, Thomas. Say what you were gonna introduce yourself.
Once again, I'm Thomas F. Chappelle Jr. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing wonderfully well, my dear brother. And you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, he can hear you. He says well. Okay.
Oh, okay. Basically, I wrote a book about erectile dysfunction. I did suffer with it. Also, I wanted to put it out there to start a dialogue based on the book. It's called ED and Me. Would you rather have medication or conversation? I understand a lot of guys tend to suffer with it and really don't understand what's going on with them and their bodies and different things like that. And, finding out a lot of guys are going through depression as well as suicidal in some cases. Everybody wants to get it back, and don't know who to trust and who to believe in.
That's true, but I'm going to say it's a little bit broader because you're making this one-sided, Thomas, because I think that not only do you have the problem with the problem, but we as women have the problem with the problem. And being a woman of age that's single, what I'm realizing now is that I don't look my age, so I can date younger. And what I've become to realize is I'm not interested in Shirley's son, okay? Take your little ass back to daycare, young man. And I need for Papa to figure it out between Dr. Franco and Thomas so we can get back out here in traffic, okay? Because women don't want to be with multiple partners. Most women don't. So we really want you brothers to figure it out. We want to help you figure it out. We want to help you have the conversation. So I appreciate the title of that book, Thomas, with that ED and conversations. And definitely Dr. Franco here coming from a holistic approach. It just seems like this is going to be a good year for us, ladies. So he says he has a conversation, Dr. Franco. You have the solution, correct?
Right. Absolutely. What we've got to realize is that what I'm trying to do is give some of the reasons why and associations. And so what you've got here is the main reason that statistics show blood flow. Lack of blood flow, main reason. That's organic. That's something that's within. Now, the disease is also associated with other causative or bifactors. For instance, diabetes. 10.9 million adult men in the United States have diabetes, and 35 to 50% of them are impotent. So one of the causative or one of the tag-along problems is diabetes, okay? Depression, we kind of mentioned that a minute ago. but there is a triad relationship between depression, ED, and cardiovascular disease. Evaluations show that depression leads to erectile dysfunction, and antidepressant drugs even cause more ED. So, you got to kind of going around and around and around in concentric circles. Something happens, you take something forward, and that makes it even worse. So that's two: diabetes, organic diabetes, and depression. Then you have neurologic or nerve injuries. It might have been to the spinal cord. You could have multiple sclerosis, heavy metal poisoning, which messes with the nervous system, alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, whether they're over the counter or prescribed. Okay, these are other reasons that lead to. We're just looking at all of this, and then we're going to get to the real deal. Medical. I'm sorry. Before we get into treatment, let's just see if there's anything else said, or if anybody else had another question about the couple of things we've said up to this point. Diabetes, depression, neurologic or nerve situations, alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, heavy metal, all that can lead to erectile dysfunction. Okay, let's talk about treatment then. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You're going to say something, Connie? Connie, can you hear me?
We have another caller. I apologize, Dr. Franco. This is Connie. Welcome to The Naked Truth, Levels of Intimacy. Hi, caller.
Hi. It's Vanessa. How are you guys?
Hey, Vanessa. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous.
Okay.
So, wanted to call in. Oh, you can't be on speakerphone?
No, go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay.
Oh, she said make sure you're off
yes,
speaker.
You're off speaker.
Okay.
Okay. So I have a question for Dr. Franco.
Okay.
And can I ask the question?
Yeah,
now?
we're waiting, babe. Go ahead. Ask the question.
Okay. I'm a little off because I'm not watching myself and hearing the radio show, so it's like a little off for me. Sorry.
No, we're waiting. Go for it.
So, Dr. Franco, my cousin actually practices alternative medicine. And I hear that if you milk the prostate, it helps with erectile dysfunction. And also she does another treatment as well with leech therapy where on the prostate glands. What do you think about that? Have you heard about that? And yeah, I'm interested to hear your feed on it.
Okay, I couldn't quite hear all of that second part. But when you say milk the prostate, are you talking about just with yourself, with your hand, or I'm just wanting to make sure I understand.
Honestly, I really don't know how she does it, but I believe she does it with her fingers.
Okay.
And
Okay.
she
All right.
milks
Okay.
the prostate.
I just want to make sure that's what I was.
She utilizes is she puts the leech on the anus for the prostate, and that also helps. So those two practices are things that she does. For her clients.
I have. I understand. I hear you. I believe that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it's working, pull the wagon. She can't hear me? Hello?
Now I can hear you. Now I can hear you.
No, I was just simply saying if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I've heard of milking, and that simply means that you must understand the anatomy of the male is such that if you've got the prostate, say here, the anus is here. Okay, so that means if there's extra bile or whatever in there, it's going to push against the prostate, and it can cause swelling, inflammation, so forth, so on, pain, the whole 9 yards, cut off the urine flow, all of that. So a doctor has done this, will go in from the rectum and go in and massage the back of the prostate, and that will cause, in some cases, ejaculation. Okay, so that's milking. I'm looking back 40 years now, 45 years ago. I know doctors that did that. Okay. The leech, I don't know. If it works, I can say do it. For instance, I'm not against anything that works. I'm not against medicine. I'm not pro medicine. Okay, chemo, radiation. I'm not. That doesn't tickle me. But I know, and these horse tranquilizing drugs that knock you out. I'm not for that. But there are times when you can get your body to the point where there's not an herb in the world that you're going to take that's going to get you well. So you need some chemo, some radiation, or some drug that's going to hit you and wake you up. You need that until you can get back to prevention again. So I'm saying all that to say that whether I'm for or against the leaching, milking, I'm simply saying if it's working, go for it.
Okay, so now I just learned some new things here. Apparently, our in-house engineer, she was pretty she knows about this leaching. I've never heard about the leaching thing. But what?
It's not that I mean I've heard people talk about doctors do that. Yeah, it's a common. It was something common that doctors do.
Oh right, because I know leeches are used for a lot of things as far as medicine is concerned, and I felt like the milking thing is almost like the prostate check for men. It's just a little bit more invasive, huh?
That's it. Go a little deeper.
Yeah.
Okay. A little deeper in the well. All right. So let's talk a little bit about.
All right, Lex, anyway, or
did I answer your question, Vanessa?
Yeah, you did. She hung up. That's what I was getting ready to say. Thanks for calling in, Vanessa and Thomas. I appreciate the feedback. And if anyone else has any calls, feel free. 551-5261 7020 code. Is the area code. So go ahead, doctor.
Okay, I was in the treatments. Medical treatments, most all medical treatments usually involve prescription drugs, okay? You've got sildenafil, which is called Viagra. You've got tadalafil, which is called Cialis. Vardenafil, which is Levitra, and Avanafil, which is called Stendra and Speedra, okay? But the key is there are side effects with these. And most of them, they're different names for almost the same basic drug, okay? It's doing the same thing. But some of the sides are things like headache, nausea, flushing, like a rush of heat to the skin, indigestion, muscle aches, stuffy nose, 2 to 4 hour erections, painful erections, okay? And or anaphylactic shock. Now that's a biggie. Anaphylactic shock. What is anaphylactic shock? Well, symptoms of it simply says that they'll experience things like skin reactions, such as hives, sudden feeling of warmth, feeling like you have a lump in your throat or difficulty swallowing, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain, a weak and rapid pulse, stuffy nose, swollen tongue or lips, wheezing, difficulty breathing, a sense that something is wrong with your body, tingling hands, feet, mouth, or scalp, and it gets the difficulty of breathing, dizziness, confusion, sudden feeling of weakness, loss of consciousness. Now, folks, all of those just to get an erection seems a little out there. So let's do something if we could. Is no other caller at this point? Come on,
well, we did have we had a comment, but I was just letting you read. Vanessa says, yes, leeches are amazing and girls can have it on their cervix and actually helps with overbleeding and cramping, and also could be used as vaginal restoration. Do you know anything about that?
Well, I'm listening to it. I can picture what it is. I don't know how a leech sucking blood out of the vagina would help it to restore.
Me neither. Listen, I don't either. Erica Ramey.
A little science, yeah, and I'm trying to use a little common sense in there too, because we got to use common sense. We've got to use.
We heard the milking, but not the leaching part. Also, Erica Ramey, she wants to say that she loves it. She thanks you for the information, and that it's great for men to have some place to go and get a level of support.
Okay, so we talked about the different types And let's back up and look at it again. According to the National Institute of Health, erectile dysfunction is also combined with other situations, and we talked about a little bit. Diabetes. What is diabetes? Diabetes is basically caused by a problem with the pancreas being able to break down the foods. Okay, and one of the reasons why the pancreas doesn't work like it's supposed to is because of not too much sugar, but actually too much cholesterol. Okay. Mm-hmm. High blood pressure was one of the things said. Cardiovascular, lack of blood flow. What is that caused by?
Poor circulation.
Poor circulation caused by what? You've got an artery that thick, right? And blood's going through it. Boy, it's just going through. But then that artery begins to harden and it gets something built up on the inside called cholesterol, and the opening gets what? Smaller and smaller and smaller until the blood can no longer go through. And now we've got a problem. We got diabetes, got heart problems, heart attack, stroke, aneurysms, all of that. So now, if it's a blood flow, let's look at the Bible tells us in Leviticus 17:11 that the life of the flesh is in the blood. So the blood has to flow. And remember this, folks, listen, men. An erection is simply blood flowing through a muscle. And if enough blood can flow through that muscle, then it can actually hold the blood in, and that's a nice, strong, long-lasting erection. Hope you're listening to me. So if you got high blood, you've got diabetes, or if you're eating the thing that causes that, the word that we said a minute ago was what? Cholesterol. Where does cholesterol come from?
Everything that tastes good.
Especially what?
Sugar.
Animal products.
Oh.
It comes from meat. It comes from flesh. There's no cholesterol in vegetables and fruits, a plant-based diet. So I'm simply saying that, I'm not saying you're going to die and go to hell because you eat meat. I'm simply saying that you're going to be ill if you have an abundance of animal flesh for protein in your system, because it's going to lead to blood in the urine. It's going to lead to that cholesterol that we're talking about in all the parts of the body, including the penis. And the penis and the eyes are first. You'll start having macular degeneration because the little capillaries behind the eyes actually get hardened too. So wherever blood flows to, when it hardens because of this cholesterol, it could be the bones. The bones are going to begin to, because you're getting this atherosclerotic plaque, which is basically cholesterol mixed with other things, but this cholesterol is causing problems in our body, and that's mainly eating animals. So we need to cut back on animal protein and pick up on that plant-based diet. That's a good place to start. Okay.
Wait, we have another caller, Dr. Franco. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. Please state your name and your question.
Hey, it's Rika.
Hey, Rika.
I don't really have any questions. Hey, I just had some input.
Okay.
Like, I love the topic of the show tonight, especially when he hit on men needing to work on their diet and more like their mental health and things like that to be actively sexual.
Yes.
And how you said, you like the young men, like we are kind of like tired of dating like younger men because men won't deal with like their childhood trauma, or they still want to drink alcohol all day, every day, and eat all this crazy stuff and just don't address any type of issue. So I love this topic tonight.
Thank you so much for calling in. Yes. And, the men are so, kind of one-sided, but we really want to help you kings out. We really want to be sexually active. We really want to be taken down and loved upon and filled up. But it's like we have to prepare to do so much for so less. So in order to keep us from being frustrated, I want to say, like, I do appreciate all the information that you're giving, Dr. Franco, but just let me talk for a second here, because I know sometimes we go to the doctor's office and we hear a lot, but we never understood really what was happening or what it really was, the information that we needed to hear. So thanks, Rika, for calling in with that and just filling both of us up. But basically, everyone, what Dr. Franco is saying, and I'm talking to men, women, single, wives, mother, boyfriend, girlfriend, dating, LGBTQ. It doesn't matter if you are in some level of sexual relationship with a partner and there is a lackluster because there may be some type of medical problem. Here is the solution. So Dr. Franco is basically saying that in order to have a healthy sexual life, you have to have proper circulation. Okay. Long story short, the way to increase blood flow to the penis is number one, a healthy diet. Okay. That's food for thought, food for your body. Nourishment comes in so many different forms. I mean, that's figuratively and that's literally. We need to stay hydrated, not with Don Julio, okay, with water. Now, we had a conversation about what type of water, spring water, distilled water. I think any water is better than any level of alcohol, but we'll have Dr. Franco tap into that as well. And also with those two things, we have to maintain a healthy diet and exercise. These are levels of intimacy, people. If you cannot perform thrustfully for 30 minutes an hour, maybe the foreplay should take a little bit longer. Maybe the intimate settings, the workouts, maybe the rubbing, maybe the physical contact of one another without there actually even being an act of sex. Because what we do know is from Thomas calling in, it didn't seem like there was an option. It was either like erectile dysfunction and conversation or find you someone else. So if you are in this type of relationship, I feel as if my next person would be, how do we go there? Because you have a solution and it worked for, I think you said 3,000 or 6,000 men, but what about that one person who has passed the mark? They cannot get a diet together. They cannot get the proper medication. They cannot get the proper, they can't get it going to get it going. What's the solution for them?
That's a good one. Well, the bottom line is going a little bit where you like to be is, and where the gentleman with the book conversation, but as opposed to confrontation, I like carefronting. Okay. So, bro, man can't get it on. Well, that's a problem for men. That you wipe a man out at 30. I almost feel like committing suicide. I mean, it was horrible. It was horrible. The thought. Well, a wife or a mate who says, "Baby, don't worry about that. I love you regardless to that." Okay, that's nice, but hey, don't worry about it. What you do is you just soothed his nerves. You just took all of the, you got to perform out of the deal, because the best sex between couples is when they are friends.
Mm-hmm. So I agree with that.
If you're my friend, that's nothing. We can work through that. And so if I can still lay there with you, like you said, and cuddle and just talk about something that we like to do.
I'm going to tap out on that one.
Well, I'm going to have to say, just let me finish. If you can do that long enough, he will relax, and then he might still be able to perform. That's all I'm saying. Sometimes you got to work through it. Not every time, and now it depends on I'm talking about marriage, because I deal with marriage. I don't deal with this other thing. I ain't done that in so many years. But again, for those who are married, I'm talking about men. I'm 75, but in your 50s, 60s, you get into a situation like that. If there's confrontation, it's a problem. But if we're working it out together till death do us part, and if she can help relax him, he can still, in a lot of cases, perform, is all I'm saying. You can't gainsay that. They've been there.
I appreciate that. And when I speak, it's not always about me and my Black-owned business. So I had a gentleman give me a call, and he was frustrated. And it wasn't him that had erectile dysfunction. He actually married an older woman, and she was having a lot of female problems. And I suggested multiple things for them to engage in a level of intimacy. And it was just so crazy because, I told them, if you can't perform vaginally, then, you know, maybe you should tap into other levels of sexuality. Hence, I have definitely encouraged the next form would be a form of oral play, because they were married. Now, they were married 5-6 years. They still were pretty young, but they married older. So I think she was like maybe in her late 50s. He may have been in his late 40s. And so then she ended up having ovarian problems. So now we can't do that. Then she got Bell palsy and carpal tunnel. And I'm like, well, now what do we, I just really was like, well, maybe you and her should talk about really maybe something else happening in a relationship. I am not a doctor. Okay. I am just the person that solved the problems. So I'm saying you want to keep giving all these remedies, but what if none of that works? What are we doing now when we don't want to just lay there and wait?
But the key is, some of what you said was, I mean, who can't lose weight? If they can't walk, if they got Bell's palsy, Bell palsy is basically the face. But if they're unable to walk, anybody can get out and go walk. And anybody can diet. Anybody can back up from the table. Anybody can drink water. I just had a young lady call me and say, I'm waiting on my other items to get to me, but I've been drinking water since I talked to you last Thursday, and I lost 9 pounds. But when you drink water, this is what happens. It bulks up the bowels. It makes the inflammation and swelling in the legs and arms and so forth go down and disappear because you're urinating more. And it increases your oxygen levels so that you can exercise more, so you actually can lose weight. You lose weight, it's oxygen to the brain. When you drink more water, you put oxygen to the brain, H2O. So now you think better, you feel better, your nerves are better. So you can do these things to improve your own health so that you can get to a point where you can do more.
Well, Erica said she sounded like she didn't want to be bothered. That's what I think too, Erica.
Yeah, I'm saying if she said I can't do nothing, that's a good one there, boy. When you can't do nothing, then don't do nothing.
Well, listen,
driving away is what she's doing.
So here I come, my turn, doctor. Okay. Dr. Franco on hold. The Vagicator has walked into the room. Let me reintroduce myself. My name is Miss Connie. I am your bedroom boutique consultant that is Levels of Intimacy. What I would suggest is that if you don't have a private conversation with me, or create an event in your home where I could come and talk to you, your friends, or a couple of friends, that means men and women as well, and give you the education on how to add to your relationship. And that's 2 batteries, not 2 legs. So what we don't do here is encourage poly or menage a trois, unless that's what you're really into. But I'm telling you right now, with a little bit of electricity and maybe a battery or 2, I could change your life, because there is a level of intimacy that can save a marriage where there is erectile dysfunction, and that would be intimate toy play in the bedroom. One thing I did research on having this topic was about massaging. So in circulation, there has to be a little bit of massaging. You have to do a little bit of self-care here. So at Bedroom Candy, we sell a variety of massage oils. And if you go to the site, I dropped it in the chat, in the timeline there, at bedroomcandy.com/11002. I would love to come and give you a party and just have this conversation. We're going to start taking this show on the road too, because men, we really, first of all, let me stop, because women, we got to stop being so in our heads too, because a lot of men, and Dr. Franco didn't tap into this about porn. A lot of men look at porn because they think this is how to get themselves going. It's such an unhealthy diet and appetite. It does not work when there's a real problem. But then women, we become aware that they're looking at someone else, and we're in our head about our bodies, how we present ourselves. But no, a lot of the men who we love haven't had men who have poured into them and educated them. Hell, our mamas barely told us anything. Okay, thank God we got a whole homegirl that was a little bit versed, and maybe a little bit more educated, and we learned a little bit faster. But boys generally do not come up having these conversations and understanding how to love. They only understand how to operate tools. Okay, it's like a toolbox and they just operating tools. But if we sit and really had a conversation before we engage in these levels of relationships and be intentional, like, hey, this is what I'm into. This is what I like. I had a show on earlier last year. Make sure we asking the conversation, because unlike Dr. Franco, we not all married. Everybody out here is not in monogamous relationships. Some people are married with multiple partners. Some people poly. We cannot be put in a box and judge people by how they moving or what they doing. But what I do understand is that the connection that goes with the level of sexuality, the good, the bad, and the ugly, okay, will affect the whole day. Okay, yours and his. So what I suggest you do is you have a conversation. If you can't have a conversation, then this is when you need to call in, okay, anonymously, or send me a letter so I can read it and we can tap into that conversation so I can get the help that you need, so you can help him help you, and we can have a happy hump day Wednesday, 50% flash sale. Click the link in there. Go get you some. Okay, period. Did we lose Dr. Franco?
Oh, no, I'm right here.
Okay, Dr. Franco.
I ain't going nowhere.
Okay.
Because I'm 75 years old. There ain't nothing to say that I don't know about, honey. And probably before I got to where I got to a certain level, I taught some of that too. Okay, but now I try to keep a level low profile. But the key is individuals that are together, males and females that are together. There needs to be an agreement. He doesn't need to be doing porn. If you all decide y'all want to do porn together, as long as you're doing it together, there shouldn't be I'm over here, and then we try to come together, because that don't work. If you're going to be one, whether you're married or not, if you're going to be one, you're going to be one. And that's a friendship. And a friendship will take most of the garbage out of the deal, and it can begin to work, because you're actually talking to each other. You're letting the person, you're humbling yourself, and you're letting all the guards down. Here I am, there you are. This is what we can do. Let's put this thing. Let's try this. Let's try this. I'll try. We'll do whatever we need to do to make it work. But they can definitely call me, because most of the problem with males and females is that they're unhealthy. They're like I said, I was a bad guy once upon a time. I wasn't such a good guy. And
you ain't gonna use that word, huh?
I was a womanizer, okay?
Okay.
But the bottom line was, once I got into health in 1980, that was right about the time of the erectile dysfunction. I learned that those big, beautiful legs and those nice rumps and those big breasts where you look like they were about to pop, you could hit them with a pin. They were so fine, as we call them. A lot of that was inflammation. A lot of that was waste, if you hear what I'm saying, because they were full of poisons and toxins, and a lot of that was do. I hope you hear me. So once I learned that, then all that fineness wasn't as fine as it was, if you hear what I'm saying. So everybody needed to clean out, clean up, and stay clean.
Mm-hmm.
You hear what I'm saying? I started realizing that a lot of what I was looking at wasn't all what it looked to be. A lot of that was sickness, okay? A lot of that was extra weight, extra inflammation, extra puffiness that was actually sickness and disease. So again, everybody can stand to get some ideas and some assistance on how to health up their body a little bit, you might say.
Right. And so we just had a question. They wanted to know, what type of doctor are you specifically?
I am what is called a health evangelist. That's what I call myself. But I have a master's in herbalism. I have a naturopathic doctor degree. Okay. And I'm a board certified holistic health practitioner.
Mm-hmm. I lost you.
I basically
we lost you after board certified practitioner.
Board certified health and holistic practitioner. Yes.
We lost you after that. We couldn't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. But basically, I try to come from the standpoint of someone who's a friend of mankind, trying to help them to understand in common sense terms what this stuff is. That you go to the doctors, they talk to you, you come out of there and you don't know. You're dumber than you were when you went in.
That's why I had to break it down, because you was using a lot of words.
Explain to you what. So forget the doctor. Are you hearing common sense? Yeah, because I don't go in flashing all that I am, all that I've done. That's not. Can you hear what's really going on? Is what I try to do. So a lot of people get all busted out by terminologies. Okay. I work with a company that I became a multi-million-dollar corporation, the Aluva Corporation, and I became the director of the Health and Science Advisory Board for them. But they had medical doctors already, pharmacists and MDs, but the people couldn't explain their products to the people that needed to hear about it until I joined with them. And they realized that God had blessed me with 45 years of experience, 16,000 people. If I didn't never have a degree, if I didn't have a degree, I've got the experience, and you can hear it. You can hear that there's information you can use. Everybody can use.
Hold on, Doctor. We have Michael Jeffrey. He says Malachi York in the flesh. Clinton correction. He says where are the degrees, and what school did you attend? That's not a major.
That's not a major.
I guess institution. I don't know. Dr. CB, remember you past Joseph. I'm not sure who Michael Jeffrey is. He seemed like he coming for you. Michael, we just trying to figure it out, honey. Yeah. Michael is in here checking the references, honey. He is on your LinkedIn right now. But let me tell you something. Dr. Taylor, he has not given us any type of drugs or Western medicine. All this man is saying, drink water and live healthy. So if you got a problem with that, then actually, I don't know. Maybe you should take it to the Bible, because I know a lot of the words that you profess are coming from the big book. But like I said,
can I do something? Now let's look at the National Institute of Health, the John Hopkins nutritionists say that if you have a plant-based diet, all the diseases, including erectile dysfunction, history, all that stuff will disappear. Now, in the Bible, in the very first chapter, chapter 1, verse 29, God said to eat fruit, nuts, and grains. And in Genesis 3:17, he said eat vegetables. So the first diet that God gave man was what? A plant-based diet. So the key is naysayers, the Bible calls them naysayers, but naysayers, gainsayers, would rather tear up something than to deal with all the good. Anybody listen to anything that's been said, if they really wanted wellness for themselves or for someone that they love, they could hear, wow, I could do this, I can do this. But instead, they'll go and challenge educational prowess. What's that? I
need Michael Jeffrey to call in. Michael, we want you to call in. 702-551-5261. He says, old tactics, show me in the book. Bullshit.
I've been called worse. But I can get on the phone with Jeffrey, and I can put him on the phone with dozens and dozens of people that had cancer that they said they wouldn't make it out of the hospital 30, 40 years ago. He's still alive today. You know,
I get it, Dr. Franco. You know what? If we spend all our time trying to convince people who we are, what we do,
we wouldn't have time to do anything.
We wouldn't, because I'm gonna tell you something. I ain't never been got no doctorate degree, but I'm gonna tell you, I know where to go and how to come and how to get there. Amen. In Jesus' name.
Make a whole lot of sense to me. I know that.
It's called the naked truth, baby. There's levels to this. Okay.
Well, we've got to have spiritual sense. We got to have common sense. And common sense is just a powerful piece. Why do people knock against something that makes all the sense in the world that even a third grader can understand?
Yeah, we're not coming for you, Michael. We appreciate the back and forth. You know, I love it. I love good conversation, you know, but I just want to say though, you know, because like you say, you speak to a lot of the married people, but I come in contact with a lot of people that are divorced and widowed, especially in my age range, or who have decided to just choose other options, you know? And I just want to tell people authentically is that it seems like if you involved in any level of self-care, it's going to work out for you, you know? I don't think we tapped in on that call when I called you earlier about the young man who said he was in his 40s and that he thought that maybe his erection was weakened because of prolific masturbation at an early age. We didn't really tap into that part, so I don't want to get lost
in a little bit of information that I did give him. He was excited about it because it made common sense that he hadn't been given from any doctor or anyone else. So it's so important. And again, I have a problem with people with questions. Where'd you go to school, so forth, so on. But what has that got to do with the price of beans? I knew Dr. Sebi. No one can gainsay the fact that although he claimed to heal, I never claimed to heal. I always say that God's body was designed to heal itself. It doesn't matter how many degrees. That's what I claim. But the bottom line is he helped tens of thousands of people. What's wrong with that? It's old school, but so is, I go to the Bible and we can look at Ezekiel 4:11 tells you to drink 8 glasses of water a day. That's old school, but here we are the last 70 to 100 years, the doctors have been telling us to do what? Drink 8 glasses of water a day. So these principles work. Principles never change. They always work. So let's do this. A couple other therapies would be hormone replacement therapy, which means that the testosterone is low, the sperm levels are low, okay? And then there are penile implants, where they put things like pumps inside the penis.
Or we can tell them, Dr. Franco Taylor, how to contact you because we literally got 1 minute left. Give them that last piece of information on the uniqueness of the Right Stuff Health with Dr. Franco if they want to reach out to you.
Thank you. It's Right Stuff Health, RIGHTSTUFF or it's Brofranco, BROFRANCO.RS@gmail.com, or you can call me at 901-383-0404. Personal consultations, group family consultations. Yes.
And also, guys, I want to let you know that Dr. Franco will be on another show of a friend of mine's tomorrow, Vanessa, and on that morning show. Do you have the information for that show?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, she's supposed to have sent it to me, so I'd have to look and see.
Okay. So Vanessa, if you're still online, please drop that in so we can make sure to tap into your show with Dr. Franco tomorrow, and we can just, understand more about the business of what you are and, what you're doing. And I want to thank everybody for the engagement tonight. I literally only have a few seconds here to wrap it up. Thank you, Dr. Franco. Thank you, Rika. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Thomas from calling in from California. He's also going to come on the show and talk about erectile dysfunction because although I'm on at the 5 o'clock hour, when you're in traffic, I'm trying to be out there in traffic too. You understand what I'm saying? So step aside 34. I can't do you. 50. Get it together. Okay. Because let me tell you something. If you scramble them eggs real good, you get the best pound cake ever. I'm your girl, Miss Connie LV. This is Levels of Intimacy, the Naked Truth. And I got to go. Bye.
Hi. Hey. What's up? All your favorite artists. Check it out. Say my name. DJ Khaled. This is Mila J. Bruno Mars. On Hot 702.5.